that's what it was. Like we in a jail cell somewhere. But hey, let's come over and bend over. Welcome back. You
Hello,
know,
everyone.
there's Ricardo.
Hi, yes, I am Ricardo, and welcome to Come Over and Bend Over, the only show on this God's internet that
I'm quaking
will make you come over
and over and over
and bend
and over
over.
again.
Yeah, it's all about our show is about fitness and stretching, so that's why that's the name. Now,
Yeah,
hi.
the fitness and stretching of the brain, so you can get to the actual fitness and stretching. Okay, so I want to ask Ricardo a question. What are the
Hold on a second. I need to acknowledge this. That was the best Ricardo I've heard an American saying. Thank you. You said my name right.
You're welcome.
It was beautiful.
I want to
I felt it.
contribute it to the glass bottle of water that I'm drinking in this episode.
Thanks, water bottle.
Yeah,
Stay
he's a
hydrated, hoes.
real trooper. But I did want to ask you, what are the pros and cons of your childhood?
Okay. So, pros and cons of that is a very loaded question.
It is. You can answer it any way you want. We have nothing but time.
There were a lot of pros. I had friends. I think I was very fortunate that I had the kind of the childhood that I had because I had a lot of I had a lot of tech by age 10-ish.
Okay.
But before that, it was very like playing in the street from very early morning to the very late night. So I think
Okay.
that was like pretty cool that we could go outside and play.
You weren't an adventurer.
No, because it was just like so.
Just that block.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like then my friends came over, so like it became I just love that I had that, and then like after growing up a little bit, my parents when they redid the house, whatever, they finished the roof with like a barbecue area, whatever
Oh, that's
set up.
nice.
Yeah, so like then my house became the place like where everybody had their gatherings.
Horizon Burgers.
No, but where everybody had their gatherings. Like my parents would have gatherings with their friends, my sister with their friends, and I would have mine with my friends. And that was a cool thing.
Okay.
The negatives, in my case, was growing up in a country that is Catholic, and the message, and this is the 90s, so like the messaging was very negative towards the gays,
Ooh.
which was not fun. Also, I grew up in
Throw them bowls.
I grew up in a Catholic church environment. Like I lived a block away from my church, and so like there's a lot to unpack there alone. But so like I would say that I had a pretty good upbringing. I had a pretty good life. I can't complain about a lot of stuff. With that said, I'm not gonna say that it was easy. I don't know, but I see.
Okay. Do you have any more pros that was in between all of that?
I mean, there were
Like,
good
was there
times.
anything that came out of anything good that came out of the Catholic times?
My friends, like my best friend Mario and I, like we were.
You had people in the trenches.
Yeah, we were. So I don't know, and it was interesting because after I left the church, he kind of left, but because his family was so involved in church, he was always in church, and he was a believer to the very end. So that is good for him. Like we never thought about that. That was actually he would make jokes because he was like, well, you believe in nothing, so we can't do anything for you. And I always thought that was funny, and
See a comrade with a sense of humor.
yeah, and that's why I say like I don't hate all Christians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I had a friend that was Christian until the very end, and He was cool. So you can't be Christian and cool. But actually, I have several. I know a lot of people like that, and I don't know. It's just so there were the friendships that I got from the church that I still have some of them, and I guess that would be it. I don't have a lot of good memories. My last memory from the church was when, before coming to the States, I was my nephew's godfather.
Okay.
So that was like the first time I got back to my church in 8 years. I don't know, something like that. And the people that were speaking or giving like the lectures and talking about whatever was going on were like literally saying things pointing at me, like pointed jokes about being gay and about leaving church. And I'm like,
hey, center of attention, right?
right. And I was like,
Woo woo.
I don't care.
I would have been in the back with streaming.
I still did the whole like, even though like I
would have put in a lip ring for the occasion.
So I was like, even though I didn't have the faith, because it's something that is important in my family, I was like, sure, I will, And I love my nephew, so like, I have zero problem with any of this. I was just ignoring, played the role that I had to play, and moved on with it because you pick and choose your battles in life.
True.
So I just went with that. Let me see. I'm trying to think if there was like my grandparents were. I have good memories with my grandpa and my grandma on my mom's side. I have some good memories with my grandma on the paternal side. Yeah, like in general, my grandpa, it was like I never understood my grandfather's situation on my father's side, so.
I mean, shrug emoji, right?
Yeah, like families. I was thinking about this the other day about like cousin politics because
politics.
Because like I have cousins that are technically speaking close in like it's like my first cousin.
Yes.
So technically speaking, we should be
friendly.
Cool. Right. But like when I was 2 years old, he was already like 18. So it's not like he was not in my life because he moved to another state, blah, blah, blah. But I really want to talk to him about something else that I think he would understand. And I'm like, but is it weird? Because like we don't have a relationship like we talk to each other all the time.
Yeah, but there's a lot of family trees that are not generational like that.
True. Well, yeah.
I think mine is, for the most part, because, we have people being born at different times and then they start to procreate at different times, but it's all within the same time frame of their age at when they started procreating. So it's like the family tree is looking like a V, so to speak, upside down V.
Saying. You mean a pyramid?
Yeah, a pyramid. Going in a direction of a pyramid and whatnot.
Okay, but so did you have any good how about you? Do you have
pros and cons?
Pros and cons?
Yeah, I have a lot of pros and cons. So I like to contribute the biggest pro to my mother putting me through anger management and whatnot. They helped me get my mind together at such a young age, and I could just absorb and see the world for what it really is and whatnot. So I was able to manage my position in the world, like 9-8, and that was great because it worked wonders for my imagination land. I was able to do so much at such an early age, and it was beautiful. Like the Sonic the Hedgehog fanfics to the Power Ranger fanfics, TMNT, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Beetleborgs, all of that stuff. I was like making up characters for all kind of things, just like, they can do it, I can do it too. But I also saw something when I was a kid, and it was along the lines of, if you don't like anything, do it yourself. So that's why I started writing and creating at such a young age, because it wasn't really a necessity to see myself in a cartoon or a show. it was the necessity to see diversity, period, because of the two sets of encyclopedias I had in my home and how my mother talked about people.
Mainly being entertained,
Yes,
like something that you liked because it looked real.
yes,
Because that's the other thing that we talk a lot about, how diversity is not like about being diverse. It's just like that's how the world is.
yes, yeah.
That's what it
How
looks
the
like in
world
real
is,
life.
yes.
But go on, sorry.
Yeah, that was great. That was one of the great things, cause mind over matter is a lovely thing. You know, discipline. All right, hunching, doing things like that. You know, my chi is very chakra aligned.
Okay.
I'm my own spirit animal. What's good? But some of the cons was, had to, get another set of eyes because I can't see for nothing. All right. And if I break them,
Oh,
it
we
was a
talking
long
about
period
that?
of time of not seeing anything. Yes.
Oh man.
So, the disposition of, just having to rely on glasses and not being able to be as tough as possible and whatnot, but energy.
So I started wearing glasses by age 4. How old were you when you started wearing glasses?
Probably the same age.
Okay.
No
So
telling.
I feel your pain. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Even though it's not the same, but I
Yeah, things like that, because they prevented me from going into jump school when I went into the Army and stuff like that. And, it's just been a hindrance my entire life. There were other things like, it's a long list of just seeing the inappropriate, non-developing thing we call humanity. It's like repeating over and over again and whatnot. History class was the ugliest wake-up call ever. It was the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, child.
But
Then again, I hear about different histories and whatnot because of television nowadays. And I think that, but at the same time, Netflix don't promote the people of color shows.
I want to say this about history, and I told you this before. History and geography were the teachers that changed my fucking life from a very young age because in my reality, not all books were updated. It's a different country. And the fact that they would get out of their way to say, hey, this is what the book is telling us, but there's other stuff.
You had brave teachers.
And
you had teachers.
And this is
I didn't have teachers.
Yeah, this is like early 2000s-ish. I'm talking about first grade, second grade, like third grade-ish was when this started happening. And I appreciate that a lot because teachers are out here changing the world and y'all don't value them.
Yeah, I had some decent teachers, but I wouldn't shout them out or anything.
Well, me neither, but I remember their names. And that's
I'll put it like this. The characters that I make up for my stories are all based off of good people. If any of them end up turning sour, let's say, for example, Joe Rogan, then I have to X that kind of person out of my stories, out of my head, because I can't have that affiliated with all of the light that I'm trying to create.
I see.
And stuff like that. But speaking of the term creating, how do you feel about procreation?
It's a complicated topic, and it's kind of what we're going to talk about today.
So let me rephrase it. Procreation, is it really that necessary?
At this point in the game, it's something that I think I've made myself pretty clear about this already, but I don't think we should be having kids because it's not fair to the kids, in my opinion. So in that argument alone, I don't think it's fair to the kids. But
okay, so if we were in your time frame, raising a kid in the 90s, would you think about doing it?
Nope.
Okay, so I feel the same way in a sense, but let's talk about some reasons, all right?
Okay.
You want to start off with genetic, financial, societal, or personality related?
Genetics. Because I have something to say.
I know, right? I got
Dude.
something to say too, because I can speak, but I can't sing.
I don't, as you were talking about earlier about the glasses thing, like, I don't think people should pay to see. Like, glasses should be free, and like eye surgery should be free. Like, all this shit should be free. And you're probably gonna say, hey, but you're only saying that because it would affect you. And I'm like, yes, that is it. But
But
I'm not
in
alone.
his case,
because
he's not thinking about himself.
no, because I can afford shit. I can pay for it, and I know that there's a bunch of people that can't, and that's the shit that fucks with me. And it would be expensive, don't get me wrong, but I know that I can save money and figure my shit out. I think it should be free, and same thing with teeth. Teeth
Yeah,
treatment.
I was born with bad teeth.
I still don't understand why America and the world separates health, like the dentist, from health insurance, but that's a whole other conversation. And I don't think people should pay to have that taken care of. It should be a human right, because it's a part of existing. It's the same thing. Like the same way that I feel like. Don't get me wrong. I know that there's a lot of layers on what I'm about to say, and people could get mad. But I think internet should be free for everybody, because, for example, young people can't go to school today if they don't have access to the internet, and even I don't know. People need internet to survive. I don't think people should be paying for the internet. And anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, but like going back to the genetic thing. I remember when one of my mom's doctor looked at me and said, "By the way, this kind of back problems are genetic, so you're probably gonna have this." So I'm like, since I was 14 or 15, with that thing in my head, like I have to be extra careful with my whatever kind of exercise that I do because of my back, because of that stuff is genetic, and I'm fucked. So like, think of all the things that I just listed, and why would I decide to bring a child into this? Because, let's say I'm using my genetic material. Why would I do that to that child?
There's a lot of things we did because, as you said, you're not just thinking about yourself. Because I think about everybody in the whole, because, it's just a floating rock in space.
We are in this together.
Now, I wasn't going to say all of it, but it's true. And you know what a toothache feel like. You know what, spraining your ankle feels like. You know what it's like to be winded walking upstairs and almost falling backwards because you're getting dizzy and whatnot, thinking you can get back up there at the age of 29 and whatnot.
That's a very specific example, but yes.
Yeah, chilling out in the basement and then somebody knock on the door, then you feeling like you got to get up there real quick, so you run up there and like, ooh-wee. Well, had to, grab air forward so you can lean forward.
I'm gonna go way lower than what you just did. Sometimes I just sneeze wrong.
Yes.
And that's enough. And that's how I lose weeks of my life trying to realign my back. Because one sneeze. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, but let's talk about hygiene, right? Would you like to raise another snot ball? The same snot ball you were in school when you had to go to the nurse for some sinus medicine that ain't really help you.
I'm gonna stop it right there. So here's what happens. There's this conversation that I hear a lot about here in America that is like, oh, his doesn't want to shower phase, and and it's usually about young men, and I'm like, I never had that phase, and maybe it's because I'm from a country that is very, very, the accent jumping out, very, very hot.
Yeah, because it's close to the equator.
Yeah, and like for us, taking baths are kind of mandatory. Like you don't I never even passed through my head in my whole life like, oh, today I'm not gonna shower because I was always like sweaty. I was like, I need to shower, and the fact that there's like a phase, it's something that I don't understand. Not my kids.
So
yes, you're gonna. It's snowing outside. Yes, you're gonna take a shower.
Yeah, let's jump off of genetics and go to financial. So genetics involves a lot of money, period. Existing involves a lot of money, period. And y'all see how the world is shaped. The generation before us didn't help out with capitalism. The generation before that didn't. And it's getting very out of hand to the point where we have a lot of millennials saying no.
Right. And I think that is actually a pretty good point. And also, let me just say that I think people have the right to choose to have kids or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people make their calculations in their head and like, okay, I'm gonna bring this child into this world. Do whatever you want. I don't want to do that. But I also understand, and people think that it's like mainly females that feel this way. But I don't think it's a female thing.
No, it's not. Because let me tell you something. There were a lot of sweet spots in my childhood that I think every child around the world should experience. My mama had these homemade pizza parties. There were a lot of things.
Oh my god. When my sister would start like dating age, like around 15, 16, her and her friends would make pizza nights for their boyfriends. And me and Mario would like, and Carol and Louis would just like reap the benefits of that. Like, oh, they're making like 50 pizzas. Yes, we're gonna be sitting here and having some for free. Mm-hmm.
All right. So the innocence behind all that is something that can't be repeated everywhere because you can't. That's not accessible for everybody.
True.
Because of the classes. Because of this thing called money that people continue to agree on that was made up. So everybody agreeing on this system is screwing everybody over. So do I really want to bring a child into this situation and ruin that kind of innocence?
And since this is the finance part, I want to bring this up. Having kids is an expensive business in America, specifically because it's very expensive too. The whole labor thing, the whole bringing the baby into the world is very expensive. So like you're already starting with a bill of like it can get to 10K or more. I don't know what the prices are. And
oh yeah,
so like
because you know what a hospital bill looks like.
Exactly. So there's this book that I have here in front of me. It's called Primates of Park Avenue, a memoir by Wednesday Martin, and it's about how not now, but like kind of in some places of New York City, because of the kind of societal and class level, for these people, having children is kind of like a luxury thing. So that's why you see the Trumps having I don't know how many children, because they are trying to prove to the world that I can afford this many kids, and I know that it's going to cost millions to uphold this lifestyle here in New York. And this is what this book talks about, and it's fascinating to see that there's a whole like world of people trying to one up each other to say, oh no, but my child is better than yours. And not that we'd never heard that before. We know that's how it is in every level. We don't have to be rich to try to say, oh, because
ain't know it was like that out there on the streets.
Because Jonathan just got accepted to this special school. Like that's a thing that people like to do. It doesn't matter what the class you are. Your mom is always going to try to say that you're better than you are to other people. Mm-hmm. But this is a great read. It's very interesting, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. Because they're expensive. Right. Kids can be about $1 million through their whole life. That's how much you spend. I don't have that money.
Neither do I.
And I don't know many millennials that have that money.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Whoa.
So, have you ever thought about the Chinese sweatshops versus the American sweatshops?
Yes.
Do you know what the American sweatshops are?
Yes.
What are they?
Sweatshops where people work for very little money, because that happens here too.
No, I'm talking about the kid. What is it?
Well,
I'm talking about pageantry.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking.
Oh, you wasn't thinking about the Jessica Simpsons and
Have you ever met a pageant person?
No, a parent manager, parenter.
Have you ever met a pageant person or a person in a pageant family?
No.
Okay, go on.
No,
I
I'm just
have.
saying.
It's very interesting. I agree with you that it's messed up, but the whole like, oh, you're gonna win this crowns because nobody let me do this when I was a kid, whatever. That is something that blows my mind. But I have met people and like grown men that are um entering this, because it's their family thing.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if it's cringe or if it's like, oh, this is beautiful because it's family love, but maybe that's a topic for another day. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Well, you gonna make me lose track.
Yeah, I did already. Sorry.
The Korea has them. Europe has them. Everywhere has them.
So
Trying to use their kid as a means of
Brazil has
bringing
it too.
in wealth.
Brazil has it too. And
do you want to bring a kid into that world and then have one of those kids turn out to be like that story on Netflix about that Anna girl who was like, this is what I wanted my parents to be, basically. Because some people say that you have to be who you wanted when you were a kid. Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what she wanted. And if kids nowadays get scammed, kids nowadays come up missing.
Not only that, it's just like there's this expectation that this generation is gonna save the world. But I've been feeling this pressure of this generation is gonna save the world since when I was in school. But then, like, earlier last year, I was talking to some friends, and they were talking about, oh, these millennials. I'm like, millennials are turning 30. We're talking about that there's Gen Z that is 21, and is trying to, break into the world. And these people can be expected to fix everything.
Mm-hmm. Like, they're just applying a lot of pressure on them.
The same way that we can. Because, like, it was already fucked when we got here.
Yeah, I recognized it in elementary.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, like, that's why I keep thinking that it's crazy that people that grew up in the last 50, 60 years. But also, you're seeing that the birth rate is declining already because of that. Because women are more educated now, and women have more access to, abortion access and
what they used to.
Well, we are trying to fix that, and hopefully the world is going the right direction, trying to fight for them, and people are voting in the right direction because they want to save women's rights. But
because I can only be there as much as I can as one person voting for them.
And not only that, it's just because I think like the thing about abortion being cut is that it's not that abortion is not going to happen. It's just that it's not going to be safe. Because in Brazil, abortion is not legal at all. But it's happening. And I can tell you, it's happening, and, nothing is going to stop it.
Yeah.
So it's about being safe and accessible for everybody.
Just living in a world where people don't have control over their bodies. Because it's not just women. Because men, they can't give vasectomies unless they have one child.
Is that a thing here?
It's a law.
Interesting.
Now, if it ain't, I would love for somebody to say that.
Yeah, I don't think...
But, I don't necessarily need it because I know that sex is a means of procreation. And to stop it, that's what I don't do.
It's like, I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm safe on that regard. But, going on.
Yeah, because I was already thinking about methods of not having kids when I was growing up because of so many atrocities that I saw, and the financial burden of it all was one of them.
What is the next option that you...
I have societal reasons and personality roulette reasons.
Which one do you want to tackle first?
Let's do societal.
Oof.
Because we just talked about how nobody has real control over their bodies, right? And we've seen that with Dominic Moceanu of the, 7 Olympians, 1996, who tried to get emancipation from her parents and things like that.
You're educating me.
Very tragic.
Can you talk about that? Because I have no idea.
Because I know that my mama did everything she thought was in the best interest for me. Now her parents was like gave her to a coach that ran her through, slave driving her to be an Olympian and things like that. And them girls go through it. Them little 14-year-olds, they go through it. All right. And she didn't want to do that no more. She didn't want them. So she was trying to get emancipation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been plenty of cases like that across the United States. Some of the pageant girls and things like that. Mostly the kids who don't want that sweatshop life.
I mean, that is a great point.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to be sympathetic to the whole like, but the parents doing what they think it's best. And I understand. And that's why I think kid emancipation is something that we need to talk about more. Because I don't know if you have seen, there's a lot of people on the internet talking about how sometimes the kid knows best what is happening. For example, in what you're talking about, if a child is like, I do not want to do A, B, or C, and my parent is forcing me, and I'm like 14, 16, well, I'm even saying 10 and up, I think that should be respected. Because, even if the child regrets in the future, they made a decision, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you see that all the time in these Americanized high school stories of how there's a father storyline where he wants his son to do something and his son don't want to do that particular thing, but he's pressured into doing it over and over again until he finally breaks.
That is definitely a thing.
Yeah, it really is one of them. But Degrassi was, let me get off of it.
And our societal thing is that the whole and this can get deep, so I'm just going to keep it short, the gender situation. Because I heard a conversation between two people that I know where one said, I can understand if my child was gay or a lesbian, but I wouldn't understand if my child was transgender. And that threw me for a loop, because in my head it's like, if you can't accept your child as is, it doesn't matter what kind of LGBTQI or A or whatever's in the plus, you should be ready to accept your child however you go.
But that's different. She said understanding it, not accepting. She said understanding, right?
But what she meant is that she wouldn't want that in her family.
Okay, but you was eavesdropping. Did you join the conversation?
No, I wasn't eavesdropping. This is an open concept place. They knew they were being heard.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I am not saying that person is a bad person for saying what they said.
Okay.
That is not what I meant. I just say, my point here is, you should accept your child and take care of your child no matter what the situation is. And if you can't accept that possibility, because there will always be, which I guess leads into the next thing, like there's also a possibility that you're gonna raise a little, demon, a little whatchamacallit, a school shooter. You don't know, because I've seen a lot of moms recently saying I did everything I could. And can we blame these women?
No.
It's complicated. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that is complicated, because, some people do mean good, but that don't mean they make great parents. So. Because, people tell, the parents be telling people, no, if you're not one, you can't judge us. Nah, I can judge you all I want. So this, you are a part of society. You could be making another problem for society. So I'm gonna say what I need to say and put it out there.
Now let me ask
Some
you
of
this.
y'all do not need to be no bumping uglies. Wrong.
Oh yeah, we definitely should put some people cannot have kids. Just make some rules, something, because
them dropouts. No, we gotta get them cut out. We gotta get them sealed off.
I don't know about that, but what I was going to say is that I think that we need to start thinking about how I lost it. What were you saying?
I'm just saying that we need to, just nip tuck.
Yes.
Because so one of my biggest issues with society is the brainwashing system, because you know, we'll have people make these songs about being an independent woman, but people don't understand independent thought. They don't like gather like in between the lines or the exact message of what independence mean. And that's why we had this term called sheep.
Hmm.
And that goes into the personality roulette thing. Am I going to be raising a sheep or a leader or a free thinker?
And that's why I think it's like the scariest part of
Having a
parenting.
kid.
Because, for example, I have a friend that she has a 12-year-old now, and it's very interesting that the girl is brilliant. Wait, okay, my friend is very smart too. Don't get me wrong, but like because my friend was like going through therapy while she was a little kid, she was very much like, I want to model certain things to this child, so she sees her mom being successful. You know what I mean? And I think that that's the one good thing about millennial parenting is that we are way more aware of our issues and way more aware of how being a child can be very hurtful. Maybe because we are the closest ones to that reality right now, we like with the memory of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's a lot of people my age, our age, that is trying to do good parenting, being like,
Yes.
I'm gonna be a cool parent and a good parent, which I love. Because now most people that are going through with having kids, or most people I know at least, they have everything structured and planned, and I think that is awesome. Like as long as you have a plan with a child, I don't have a problem with people having children. If you, I may disagree, but then again, it's your life. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, true. Because I get all that because I had that with my mother. Because even though I didn't like the word I was brought into, I had somebody who was giving me examples of you can always find something better, you can always do better, self improvement. She instilled self esteem in me and things like that. It was, that part was great. It was just the whole world needed a whole uppercut, needed a real Galactus to come through. But, that never happened. People don't ever wake up enough. People are too self involved. But the worst thing is there are too many people over the world already to even care to help.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
So my tools are tied.
So what was the last one? Oh, the personality roulette.
Personality roulette.
Which is, cause like, and that's the thing. Like, what I don't understand, that people are so like opinionated about. Oh, my child is going to be like A, B, or C. When they themselves at some point had to be like, no, mom, no, dad, I don't want to do this. Which is, I don't understand how people...
history repeating itself. Unfortunately, somehow, that I cannot, piece together, but sometimes you'll get like that, A-type, fourth generation, break that and be better. Sometimes it takes time, unfortunately, but, that's one lineage out of millions every generation. So that is not going to help anything. We need this shit to speed up on everybody.
Well, now they let me know when we are heading to the final thoughts, because I have some final thoughts about this topic.
Let's do
it. Okay, so there's one thing that has bothered me for a long time that I have been trying to get off my chest, which is how people complain about gay people existing. And by gay people, I mean LGBTQIA, and I just say gay because when you're walking down the street, it doesn't matter what, they just use the gay.
Sure.
But don't get me wrong, I understand that there's a whole queer community, but people keep saying that we existing is a problem and it's bad and whatever. We have observed homosexuality and queer behavior in lots of different
Errors.
in different animals and
Oh, animals. Okay.
and everything. Like we have seen that is part of the existence. So like at this point, there's people like complaining about our existence, and they don't understand that we existing is the proof. It's part of their problem. If straight people were not populating this world at the rate that they are, because we are now around 8 billion people, that's a lot of people for one rock.
For one rock.
So like the more people keep procreating, the more gays and queers we are going to see, because that is natural. That's the world trying to save itself of the cancer that humanity is. Now, I'm not saying that being queer is bad. Being queer is great, and I'm happy that we exist. And I just think that we're going to have more and more queer people in this world, and people are getting upset about it. But the only solution for queer people to disappear is mass extinction, which we know is not going to happen at this point because we are fucking 8 billion people. Queer people tend to be around 5% of the whole population. I don't know how many queer people are in the world and what percentage we are out of 8 billion. Yeah, that is very true too. We don't know who even identifies because we know it's a spectrum, right?
Yeah, but guess why we will never find out? Because of the way the world is. So what you saying right now?
My final thought is, if you don't like gay people, don't have children, because you don't know if your children are going to turn out to be gay. And there's a chance that they are going to, because there's 8 billion people in this fucking planet. And when you look at the percentages, it's how things are going to be from now on. And the fact that you are willing to roll the dice to have a child, but not willing to accept your child how they are, is more fucked up than bringing a child into this world. And that is one of my final thoughts. Like, it's something that really bothered me, and I always wanted to say. So I'm gonna stop here because I feel like I've been talking for too long now.
You good? You had to get it off your chest. I mean, I asked you to have this conversation for a reason. So my final thoughts is, hashtag say no to humanity. You do not have to do it. Don't do the Nike thing. All right? Get that slogan out of your vocabulary, out of your head, out of your subconscious too. Erase get the tattoo removed too. Throw away all your Nikes. You can start over. All right? Become a flip-flop guru.
Not remove. Shut the fuck up.
Do us all a favor and do better. This conversation is please asking y'all to do better, all right? Spread the word. Because, I'm a good person. And, I know I'm a good person because guess what I want to do? No harm. Because, when you do no harm, you have a very peaceful life. You can mind your business. And you know how to mind other people's business without interjecting into their business. But if they are doing harm, if you see something, say something. All right, help a person out. Please help a person out by not procreating. All right, wrap it up.
And
just sit on his face. That's all it takes.
And also, if you still want to do it, I respect it. I don't think people that are bringing children into this world are less than. I think that's fine. Somebody has to do it.
Yeah, because I know some people who have kids, and I know they'll do a bang up job, but at the end of the day, personality roulette. You don't know what that person gonna do when they get alone. Which,
by the way, can I say something real quick? Maybe it's me getting older and understanding that, but I hadn't seen the whole personality roulette until very recently, and seeing a child I saw a child that was in my family and turning out to be an adult that is different than I imagined he was going to be. And it's just it's not that there's anything wrong with who he is. It's just it's not how I imagined it. So there's a conflict there, and it was the first time that I saw it, and now I think about that shit all the time.
It do be like that. when I was a kid, I used to think about that a lot because, the tabloids stayed in people's business. But, that's all we saw was what they caught. And I'm like, at a very young age, you don't know what people do behind closed doors because that was said a lot in the black community. But then again, I grew up and saw this show called Greenleaf, and you really don't know what happened behind closed doors.
Really don't.
Yeah, then you got other activists trying to help out black women who tell you about all of this stuff that happened behind closed doors and how people sweep that stuff under the rug constantly. And no, my mama said she don't want to have a little girl. So I can't even imagine what it was like for her to grow up.
I'm glad you brought that up because that made me think of Stacey Abrams. And I want to say a special fuck you to everybody in Georgia because we don't deserve Stacey Abrams. This woman I want her to be president one day. I don't think, however, that we deserve her as a president. Once again, she's the proof that a black woman, has to do 5 times better than anybody else to get the minimum. And that makes me very angry. And I do not want to bring a child into this world where there's things like that happen. I really thought she was going to win. And I understand all the reasons. I understand all the polling, whatever. It makes me mad because she's an exceptional human being, and I'm not saying that her potential is being wasted because I'm sure she's gonna be fine and figure it out because she's brilliant. But a person like that was offering us her service, and the whole state decided to go with another white man. And the reason that pisses me off is that because I don't think there's anyone else that can understand everybody else than somebody like her that has seen every walk, that has talked to everybody, that has done the work, and that is fucking brilliant. Excellent writer. And oh my god, it makes me mad. It really makes me mad. I don't want to bring a child into this world because that was an injustice that will never be repaired.
Yes, I was waiting for you to say that word.
And
because them Republicans love the word injustice, but not when it's happening to them.
But
and that's one of the things I don't understand because me, it's not even an empathic thing. It's a realization that I'm not the only person in the world. And I don't have it in me to harm anybody else because, I would love a pain-free life. You understand what pain is, right?
We talked about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't people think about doing the good thing as a default? Why are we always trying to screw each other? Why is it not like, oh, I'm not trying to scam this person. I'm just trying to interact and have a good situation going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
But go on.
Nah, I think we can stop it right here because...
See, we're getting mad.
We said a lot of things. We had a lot of reasons. I can say all of the good things possible to a child, but it's still going to be up to that child to do good. They have their own version of good. They have their own version of bad. And you never know what it's like in somebody else's head. This shit could be flipped around, and what they think is good is actually bad. And, everybody sees the world from their perspective. And I think you got mine. I think you got his. And I think you should still get your tubes tied, all right?
And shout out to the parents that are raising the weird kids. Because I'm loving to see like the kids that are like, I'm not gonna do what everybody else wants a little girl to do or a little boy to do, and I like that.
And shout out to the parents raising the nice girls and the nice guys.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, because there's some nice people you want to
get
drunk with. go on road trips with. Yeah, you don't want nobody raging out behind the wheel. You want the nice people to go camping with. You want the nice people to party with. You want the nice people to understand chemistry. It will not lace drugs and make bad drugs and give them out to people. All right. You want people that know how to party in a nice way. Because when you're alive, that's the time to party. Yeah.
All right, guys, this has been another Come Over and Bend Over. The coming didn't happen, but there was a lot of bending over. Of the truth? Maybe. I don't know. I'm high.
Oh my gosh.
Catch me next Tuesday where I'll be slam poetry at the Barnes & Noble in Concord.
That's the shop that I manage. Why are you like this?
You're part of the problem, though.
Oh boy, cut the feed.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
We're part of the problem.